And now, No Kings is proud to welcome to the stage Senator Bernie Sanders.
There are a lot of people here. Thank you, Minnesota. And let me thank Indivisible, Move On, 5051, and all of the organizations that have made this great event possible. And thanks to the millions of Americans from our smallest towns to our largest cities in every state in our country who are gathering today at thousands of rallies. It is absolutely appropriate that we hold a major No Kings rally right here in the St. Paul, Minneapolis area. When historians write about this dangerous moment in American history, when they write about courage and sacrifice, the people of Minnesota will deserve a special chapter for themselves. In the face of unprecedented occupation of this city by ICE, Trump's domestic army, this community stood up and with extraordinary solidarity fought back and won. Minnesota showed the American people, and in fact the world, what democracy is about, what grassroots activism is about, and what standing up for the American ideals of freedom and justice is about. And I want to thank my colleagues, Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith, for their leadership in the Senate on this issue. And today, we remember and honor two brave Americans, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, who lost their lives in the struggle. And we promise their families and their friends that these two heroes will not have died in vain. Their sacrifice has inspired and will continue to inspire the American people in the never-ending struggle for justice. As all of you know, we are living in an unprecedented and dangerous moment in American history. In many ways, the future of our country, and in fact the entire world, is hanging in the balance. And the actions that we take now will determine what the future looks like. The choices that we face are clear. In the wealthiest country in the history of the world, at a time of massive breakthroughs in technology, we now have the opportunity to create a nation in which all people can enjoy a dignified standard of living, where we wipe out bigotry and hatred, and where all of us can live in peace and participate in a vibrant democracy. Where the foundation of our nation is built on love, compassion, human solidarity, and an understanding. As your great former senator, the late Paul Wellstone, said, we all do better when we all do better. And that is one vision for the future, a vision that, in my view, the vast majority of the American people share. But there is another vision out there as well, a darker vision. It is a vision which says that we must give up on democracy, that we are too stupid and inept to govern ourselves, and that we must put more and more power into the hands of one man. It is a vision that says we should accept an economy in which a handful of oligarchs have unbelievable wealth, while the vast majority of our people struggle to put food on the table. It is a vision that says that the only thing that matters in life is the accumulation of money and power. And that it is okay if we lie, cheat, and steal to achieve those goals. It is a vision which says that we must hate each other because of where we were born. Hate each other because of a different language that someone speaks. Hate each other because of the differences in the color of our skin, or our religion, or our sexual orientation. It is a vision that foments hatred and hatred and hatred, division, division, and division. It is an Orwellian vision which says that we must live in a constant state of fear, that we must always have an enemy, and that we must always be at war. It is a vision which says that we have unlimited amounts of money for bombs and guns and killing, but never enough money to feed our children, provide affordable housing, or enable our parents to retire with dignity. Today, here in Minnesota, in Vermont, and in every state in the country, we say loudly and proudly that as Americans, we will never forsake our heritage. We will never accept authoritarianism. We will never accept oligarchy. And we will never accept a president who is a pathological liar, a kleptocrat, and a narcissist who is undermining the Constitution of the United States and the rule of law every day. We will never accept government policy that gives massive tax breaks to billionaires, throws 15 million Americans off the health care they have, breaks unions, denies women the right to control their own bodies, and is pushing the planet closer and closer to a climate crisis. In the last year, I must confess, I've been thinking a lot about American history, about the men and women in 1776 who, with unbelievable courage, announced to the world that they would no longer be ruled by the King of England, who had absolute power over their lives. These patriots demanded freedom, and they fought a bloody revolutionary war against the most powerful military in the world to achieve that freedom. And they won. And after their military victory, they established the first democratic form of government in modern history. In 1789, they said loudly and boldly to the entire world, here in this new nation of America, we don't want kings. And let us never forget the extraordinary and powerful words they left to us. Quote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." And today, in 2026, our message is exactly the same. No more kings. We will not allow this country to descend into authoritarianism or oligarchy. In America, we, the people, will rule. But let us be clear. This moment is not just about one man's greed, one man's corruption, or one man's contempt for our Constitution. This is about a handful of the wealthiest people on earth who, in their insatiable greed, have taken over our economy, have taken over our political system, have taken over our media in order to enrich themselves at the expense of the working families of our country. Brothers and sisters, never before in American history have so few had so much wealth and so much power. Never before in American history has there been such extreme levels of income and wealth inequality, with the top 1% now owning, if you can believe it, more wealth than the bottom 93%. Never before in American history had we seen the super rich expand their wealth so rapidly. Last year alone, after receiving the largest tax break in history, 938 billionaires in America, fewer than 1,000 people, became $1.5 trillion richer. And our president, honest Donald Trump, became over $1 billion richer himself. Never before in American history have we seen a ruling class within a corrupt campaign finance system spend so much money to buy politicians. In the coming midterm elections, the billionaires will spend many, many hundreds of millions of dollars to make sure that government continues to work for them and not working families. Meanwhile, while the richest people in America become much, much richer, 60% of our people here in Minnesota, in Vermont, and all over this country are living paycheck to paycheck, struggling to put food on the table, struggling to pay their rent and their mortgage, struggling to pay for child care and education, and struggling to put a few bucks aside for a decent retirement. In America today, tens of thousands of our people die every year unnecessarily because they cannot afford to go to a doctor. And unless we change how our economy works, our younger generation, our kids, for the first time in modern history, will have a lower standard of living than their parents. So today, we not only say no to Trump's authoritarianism, we say no to Mr. Musk, no to Mr. Bezos and Mr. Zuckerberg and Mr. Ellison and all the other multi-billionaires. You cannot have it all. We will create an economy that works for all Americans, not just the 1%. Brothers and sisters, it is not just the authoritarianism of the Trump administration that we must combat. It is not just the oligarchs and their insatiable greed that we must combat. Now, as the news literally of today reminds us, we have got to stop the out-of-control militarism of the Trump administration, whether it is here at home in cities like Minneapolis and St. Paul or abroad. Let us be honest. The American people were lied to about the war in Vietnam. We were lied to about the war in Iraq. And we are being lied to today about the war in Iran. This war must end immediately. In the last election, Donald Trump pointed out correctly the huge amounts of money that had been wasted in wars that should have been spent rebuilding America. He campaigned as a peace candidate, and he promised no more forever wars. He lied. 1 month ago, Trump and his partner, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, started a war with Iran. This war is unconstitutional. Trump did not seek or receive authorization from Congress. This war is a violation of international law. One sovereign nation cannot simply go about attacking another sovereign nation for any reason it chooses. Since this war began, 13 American soldiers have been killed and hundreds have been wounded, including another 12 yesterday. In Iran, nearly 2,000 civilians have been killed and many more wounded, and 498 schools have been bombed by American and Israeli missiles. In Lebanon, more than 1,000 people are dead, and more than 1 million Lebanese people, 15% of their population, have been displaced from their homes. In Israel, 20 people have been killed and over 5,000 wounded. In the West Bank, Israeli vigilantes are burning down homes and killing Palestinians. At a time when gas prices are soaring, when many Americans cannot afford the basic necessities of life, it is estimated that this war has already cost $1 trillion. At a time when the American people are politically divided, there is one issue that is bringing us together. Conservatives, moderates, and progressives are speaking out in unison: end this war. And as a U.S. Senator, I want to just mention to you about what I intend to do about it. First, we have got to make sure that Congress does not send another $200 billion to fight this war. Trump's supplemental appropriation for the war in Iran must be defeated. Secondly, I will be forcing a vote in the Senate on legislation to block the sale of nearly $1 billion in weapons to the Israeli military for bombs and bulldozers. A nation, a government that has committed genocide in Gaza does not need more military support from American taxpayers. My fellow Americans, we are all proud to live in a country which throughout our history has inspired people throughout the world to struggle for freedom, for democracy, and justice. And we understand that when we stand together and not let demagogues divide us up, we can continue to inspire the world to believe in a brighter future. Yes, we can create a vibrant democracy by ending Citizens United and not allow billionaires to buy elections. Yes, we can create an economy that works for every man, woman, and child in our country, and not just a handful of billionaires. Yes, we can make certain that the revolutionary technologies of artificial intelligence and robotics are used to improve life for all of us and not just make the rich owners of that technology even richer. Yes, we can and must join the rest of the industrialized world and guarantee health care as a human right for all of our people. Yes, instead of spending $1 trillion a year on the military, we can wipe out homelessness and build millions of units of low-income and affordable housing. Yes, in the richest country on earth, we can have the best public educational system in the world, tuition-free from childcare to graduate school. Yes, we can expand Social Security and radically improve our pension system so that every senior in America can retire with dignity. Yes, we can raise the minimum wage to a living wage and guarantee every worker the right to join a union. Yes, we can guarantee that every woman in this country has the right to control her own body. And yes, when billionaires are paying an effective tax rate lower than a truck driver or a nurse, we can and must make certain that the top 1% and large profitable corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. My fellow Americans, the establishment, including the corporate media and many of my colleagues in Congress, want you to believe that you are powerless. They want you to believe that you cannot change the status quo, that because of their wealth and their influence, there is nothing you can do to combat them. But that is a lie. Throughout the history of our country, when Americans have stood up and fought for justice, they have prevailed. The founders of our country did it when they stood up to King George. The abolitionists did it when they ended slavery. The working class did it when they stood up to their bosses and formed unions. The suffragettes did it when they demanded that women have the right to vote. The LGBT community did it when they demanded basic human rights. Time and time again, in difficult moments in American history, our people stood up, fought back, and won. They did it then, we can and will do it now. Today, March 28th, 2026, millions of Americans are out on the street demanding freedom, democracy, and justice. But we must make certain today is not the end of our struggle, it is the beginning. Together, when we stand united, we can and will create the kind of nation that you and I know that we can become. Thank you all very much.
And please welcome to the stage Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
Hello, to be here with you all as you show the country just how courageous and dedicated and resistant we are. In the United States of America, we pledge allegiance to the Constitution and the flag, not to a person or a king. I came to this country as a refugee. To me, America was a beacon of hope, a place where freedom wasn't just a word, but it was a promise. I arrived here when I was 12 years old. I could have never imagined the day would come when we were staring down at this kind of creeping authoritarianism in the United States of America. But we are here because Donald Trump just has not chipped away at our democracy. He has taken a wrecking ball to the very foundation of what makes America great. He has tried to intimidate Minnesotans. He has tried to make us afraid. He has tried to divide us. But we stood strong. We have had each other's back, and we have never bent the knee. Because in Minnesota, we are built different. We do not cower to bullies. We are Minnesota strong. What we are seeing right now is bigger than what is happening here. Operation Metro Surge was just the tip of the iceberg. We are witnessing a full-scale assault on our rights, our institutions, and the rule of law. We have an administration that is openly and brazenly breaking the law and is acting like the Constitution is optional. And while they are doing that, they are shamefully and blatantly lying about every single thing they are doing. There were hundreds of millions of dollars in oil futures traded just minutes before a sudden reversal in U.S. policy towards Iran. This is not a coincidence, it is corruption. At DHS, we got a reckless spending spree, planes, vanity projects. It's like a billionaire's midlife crisis, except the American people are paying for it. While the Pentagon keeps failing its audits year after year, somehow they are able to find the budget for steak and lobster. And we know that what Trump calls strength is his idea of liberating women in Iran is to bomb and murder school children. They are pushing for the SAFE Act to disenfranchise millions of voters because they know they are not going to win a fair election. They are floating an illegal takeover of places like Cuba and Greenland like it is some kind of a real estate deal. And under the so-called anti-war president, we have now seen the launching of military operations in Iran, in Venezuela, and in Ecuador. Just a couple of weeks ago, they told us that they blew up a drug trafficking camp in Ecuador, and it turned out to be a dairy farm. A dairy farm. This is what incompetency and unchecked power looks like. It is reckless, it is dangerous, and this is not what our country will stand for. But I still have hope. I have hope in every one of you that is here today. I have hope in people across this country. We are going to speak up. We are going to continue to show up. Because we refuse to believe in a future ruled by fear, corruption, and chaos. We are not a country of kings. Yes, we are a country of laws. We are a country where people look out for one another. And we are a country that will fight peacefully, powerfully, and persistently to protect our democracy. I love you, Minnesotans. Thank you so much for being out here. And now it is my honor. It is my honor to introduce a lifelong hero of mine, the incredible, brave, courageous Jane Fonda.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm not going to make a speech because we're running late and there's a bunch of people who have to catch planes. Let me just say thank you, thank you, thank you, Minnesota. Thank you, all the unions. Thank you, all the churches and mosques and synagogues and clergy and neighbors. We are learning so much from you. Now, when I point to you, you're going to say Minnesota, okay? When people ask me how I know we will win, I have one word to say. When people ask me how I know love is stronger than hate, I say. When people ask me how nonviolence can win, I have one word to say. Thank you, Minnesota. Now, Becca Good, the wife of Renee Good, has asked me to read a statement, which I am honored to do. Hello, Minnesota. This is from Becca Good. I am so proud to call Minneapolis my home. I can't stop talking about how absolutely beautiful it is to see how Minnesota shows up for its people. I want to say thank you for how you've shown up for me. How you've shown up and shown out for all the people victimized by this horrible moment in history. So many people have reached out to me and surrounded me with safety and care. And I know I am not alone in feeling in awe of your generosity. Neighbors are paying people's rent and groceries. Hundreds of businesses become community hubs. This is beautiful. And beyond Minnesota, people all over the country and the world care about what happens here to all of us. I've received cards from elder grandmas saying, this is not what I voted for. I feel it, Rebecca says. I feel it, the immense love. And now other cities are taking their cue from what we've learned and creating new ways of caring for each other. Right on. And I want you to know that my sweet dog Wapsie is okay. All right. We love dogs. She is my sidekick and best friend for 12 years, and she is healing alongside me from what we lost that day. The reality is I am so heartbroken. I miss my wife. The world now knows that my wife sparkled with sunshine and shone with kindness that is unmatched. We were robbed of an incredible human. It has made people pause and take a breath and have to choose sides. We choose the side of love. Yes. Everyone who was there when my wife was taken from me has had their lives destroyed that day, including those agents. What we need is to stop destroying life. What is happening now is the result of far deeper issues that have been simmering across this country for a long time. Divisive rhetoric, escalating tensions, fear-mongering. We have to address the root causes of these issues and stop this violence where it came from. Renee and I stood for radical kindness. I love that notion, radical kindness. Renee and I believe that one of the things that will foster a world of radical kindness is to be able to admit mistakes and learn from them. We are allowed to decide that what we believed before isn't what we believe anymore. To change your mind is beautiful and powerful and brave. Renee and I believe that the love that's needed to build a world where we care for everyone already exists. Yeah, it already exists. Look at you all. And I see now that this is true. I have seen it. We have all seen it. And it sparkles because we know we can do better together. This is not the America I was told existed. I was told we are the people. I did not ask to be thrust into the spotlight or to be expected to speak out. It's a circumstance I unfortunately found myself in. But regardless of how I arrived here, I feel it's my responsibility to send a message that hate has divided us and destroyed so many lives and families. But we can choose something else. We can choose radical kindness. So let's do this. And now, it is my honor to introduce a young woman whom I love a lot, a great singer and a great soul, Maggie Rogers.